I am going to introduce you one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about physics, and I am going to introduce you to the people that inspired me to become a physics teacher, and people that change the world, the way we understand not just the universe and the world and the laws of nature, but even the way we think about ourselves. I think these are the modern philosophers. These physicists are responsible for our current philosophy, not just the laws and the mathematics involved in physics, but also the way we understand nature. So what I'm going to do through this video is I'm going to guide you through a presentation. This presentation through Google Earth is going to be shared at the bottom of this video, and you will have access to the slides or to the presentation itself, so you can go at your own pace and you can link into every single link that you want. Most of these links are, for simplicity, I got them from Wikipedia. So let's start, for example, with the first conference in this place in Brussels, in the Metropole Hotel in Brussels. Of course, this is many years before there was any possibility of interconnecting online with each other. You know, internet is a consequence of scientists wanting to interconnect with each other. Internet was invented to satisfy the needs of an experiment in science, which is the particle accelerator, right? Now, this is before that, of course, people coming from all over Europe, and these are scientists that came from all over Europe, to find a way of sharing their thoughts. There was no other way. So in this first meeting in Brussels in 1911, if we click onto the picture, we see these faces. I think this is Lawrence, or maybe this one, I'm not sure. This is Madame Curie, you know, we'll talk about her soon. This is Rutherford. You might be familiar with his work on the atom. He is responsible for us understanding more about the nature of the atom, Madame Curie for radioactivity, Albert Einstein for so many things. You see him here very young Albert Einstein, already meeting with the giants of physics. We'll talk about each of the discoveries from these minds, but we're not going to go to the first conference in Slovenia. We're going to go to the third one. So there was this one in 1911, and there is this one in 1927. This is a famous conference in the same place, but you see Albert Einstein is older. This is Lawrence, Madame Curie, Max Planck. This is Schrödinger. We will talk about him. This is This is Paul Didiak, and this is Pauli. This is Heisenberg. Niels Bohr. Between the First and the Second World War, these people lived the World War through their lives. And some of them had to fly away, escape from the Nazi Germany, like Albert Einstein that had to go to United States of America. So we're going to explore the ideas, and we're going to follow the order of birth. So let us start with Hendrick Lawrence, the chair of these meetings in the Slovak conference, the master of all of them. So if you click on every one of these links is a research paper by itself. Of course, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1902. So when Albert Einstein came into physics, Hendrick Lawrence was already very famous. Each one of these papers is, look at this, the ether theory. I went into that. It's very interesting how they understood space. Lorentz transformation, very heavy mathematics here. But this could be inspirations for your IAs in maths, in physics, or even for TOK presentations, TOK exhibitions, objects that you can find in this presentation. So I encourage you to explore these links. I'm just going to continue. So in the Netherlands, Hendrick Lawrence was born in 1853. Who came after Lawrence in some other place in Europe? Well, this is an unusual scientist totally disconnected. He wasn't in the Slovak conference. He was never awarded a Nobel Prize. He was not recognized until very later on as an incredible scientist. Nikola Tesla, you know. We owe to this guy, born in Croatia, with Austrian and American citizenships. You know, even though he did not finish, he dropped out from college, he is responsible for the modern world in which we live. He invented the alternate current generator. So we have electricity on demand because of this man. Nothing, I mean, the world would be a very different place if it wasn't for Nikola Tesla. So my tribute to him, we shall explore what he did later on, how he thought about physics and where he got his inspiration from. That's something very interesting. Something that these scientists had in common is similar sources of inspiration. This is Max Planck. Max Planck, born only 2 years after Lawrence, in Kiel, another small town next to the water. You see there a water coming from the ocean, a river. Again, Max Planck, he was exploring the nature of radiation, of heat from black bodies, and he developed a mathematical model that predicted the idea of energy being granular, energy being quantized. So we owe to this man the quantum hypothesis that Einstein also used for the photoelectric effect paper that he published in 1905. So Max Planck, father of modern physics, from a very small town in Germany, Kiel. We'll talk about him later on. Who was the next giant in this dream team of physics? The only lady, Madame Curie. Again, Nobel Prize in Physics in 1903, 1 year after Lawrence. Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1911. First woman to get first, I think, human being to get 2 Nobel Prizes in science. First woman to ever teach in physics in a university in Paris. So Madame Curie, as you will know, was responsible for our current understanding of the power of radioactivity. The power that was hidden inside the nucleus of every atom. The power and also the danger. So we'll talk about Madame Curie from Poland. We move on to another small town in the center of Europe, in a small, tiny city or village, probably in those days, of Ulm, Germany. Again, the river there, the Danube. I'm wondering what that has to do. But Albert Einstein was born in this tiny, small town. Maybe the hero, maybe the star, the Messi of this team, the Maradona of this team, probably Albert Einstein. He was responsible for connecting the knowledge from all the other scientists. He understood Lawrence, he understood Curie, he understood Max Planck, he understood the ideas, the principles that, for example, Poincaré stated about relativity. He connected the dots and gave us a different picture of the universe, even our understanding of space and time. He was awarded, of course, the Nobel Prize only once, and for the photoelectric effect. I mean, general relativity still owes Albert Einstein a prize, a recognition. So we'll talk about him. Very interesting. To me, probably the biggest of all scientists. And now we move on to the next one to be born. Max Born was born in Poland again, a Nobel Prize in 1954. And these are some of his awards and fields where he studied. Max Born was also a great contributor to the spreading of the knowledge, a great writer of physics. From Max Born, we move quickly to another part of Europe, we start in Copenhagen. In Copenhagen, we had some great scientists, but the first one, the biggest of all, was Niels Bohr. Niels Bohr, you see some of the awards, apart from the Nobel Prize, all these medals and prizes and recognitions. He was responsible for our current understanding of the atom. In Copenhagen, born again, very close to the ocean, very close to the rivers, very close to water. And we move on to the next one in the list. Younger than Bohr is Schrödinger. Crazy man. Amazing from Austria, Vienna. Amazing mind. He understood something about nature that nobody understood before. The fact that waves and particles are particles behave like waves and waves behave like particles. A very different way of understanding reality. And as we will see, a lot of his inspiration come from Indian philosophy, the idea of Maya. So he was awarded, again, a Nobel Prize in Physics in 1933, and among other places where he studied, we have the University of Oxford, where he studied and taught. So Schrödinger, remember, the wave equation, the fact that there is only one substance in nature, and that substance is a wave that collapses in the presence of a conscient observer. We'll talk about this later on. So from there, from Schrödinger, we move on to Louis de Broglie, French. Again, very close to the water, very close to the ocean and the water. He was also someone that contributed to our current understanding of the wave-particle duality. He worked and studied in France, in the Sorbonne, in Paris. We shall see that later on. Moving on, the next one to be born, we are already at the end of the century, so de Broglie was quite young, 1892. Wolfgang Pauli, already born in the 20th century, in the same place as Schrödinger in Vienna, and again, a genius. Nobel Prize in Physics in 1945. You see the dates, no? We're talking about World War II here. But physics was continuing, and Pauli, with his exclusion principle, probably the biggest contribution to physics and chemistry came from the mind, from this brilliant mind, whom I think committed suicide. I'm not sure about it. I know that he was looking for support from Carl Jung, his psychologist. He couldn't find any meaning in life. He was too brilliant, and I guess the times were difficult also. We'll learn about him, Pauli and the exclusion principle. Who came after Pauli? Only 1 year after him came Werner Heisenberg. As I said, a German, brilliant mind, also inspired in the Eastern philosophy. He was Nobel Prize in Physics in 1932, and he also introduced a principle in physics, the idea of uncertainty. It is because of Werner Heisenberg that we now accept that science is not certain, that we can only know up to a certain extent. There is no more determinism in science. So he contributed to a shift in paradigm, a new science where we have to accept the fact that we cannot know everything by just using reason, logic, and mathematics. From Heisenberg, we move on to Paul Didiak, one of the, I think, together with Newton, one of the biggest minds ever to be born in these islands, Great Britain. He was an amazing mathematician, very shy human being, but he came out with the equation that explained the theory of everything, a mathematical equation that came to his head. According to Paul Didiak, the equation even knew more than himself, because this equation predicted things that nobody expected, like antimatter, for example. And of course, he stayed in England. I think he went to Oxford or Cambridge, I'm not sure. We'll see that now. But born in Bristol in 1902, Paul Didiak. Not even Albert Einstein could understand and follow his head. A genius. Maybe a little bit autistic, but genius. And from Paul Didiak, we have to move on to the other side of the world. And this is physicists like Richard Feynman, born in the United States, following. Oh, I don't have a picture of Richard Feynman. I shall show you one very soon. This is one of my biggest heroes. Crazy man from New York. Now, where did they work? This is something interesting. One thing is where they were born, and another thing is where did they work. So watch this space. Next video.